Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Empowerment with Elizabeth. Today I am here with my sweet new friend Olivia, and she is going to talk to us about being a state title holder and her prep for Miss Volunteer America. So, Olivia, tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Olivia Richardson. You can call me Liv, Livy, it doesn't really matter. I go to Wichita State University. I don't know if you can see it in the background. I study biomedical science and psychology. My minor is in chemistry. I graduate in December, which is so exciting. Oh my goodness. Gotta get me out of here. While I was in university, I studied at the University of Justo in Spain and the University of the Virgin Islands in St. Croix. So I have had a lot of different experiences that have really shaped me. And I think it really makes me suitable for the job of Miss Kansas Volunteer and Miss Volunteer America, hopefully.
I love it. I love it. So, talk to us about your start in pageantry. When did you start? How did you get interested in it? Kind of give us your origin story.
Hate the origin story. Love it though. It's kind of so so my sister like started doing pageants before me. And I was like, I can do that, but I can do it better. So I started doing pageants when I was like 9 and then kept doing it, kept going, kept going. And it's just like got me to where I am right now. I never thought it was gonna have like the impact that it has. Luckily, like I've always been a Girl Scout. So I always wanted to get the job done. I've always been a prepared girl. But like this has just been a continuation of Girl Scouts that I've been looking for. And that's what I really like love to highlight and love to talk about. It's like, okay, if you're a Girl Scout and this really means something to you, you have to continue in the Volunteer America program. Like there's no other choice.
I love it. I love it. So, talk to us about your talent. Obviously, that's a big portion of the competition.
Right.
So, talk to us about what your talent is and how you go about selecting, a new piece for whether it be state and then now nationals.
So I think like I've gone through a lot of different talents, usually vocal, but I had to stay true to myself. And what is true to myself is jazz. I've been singing jazz since I was like 10 years old. I used to get taken out of school so I could go perform. It's just been amazing. And like Sarah Vaughan is my number one artist on Spotify. I was in the top 0.01% of listeners. Like I love that girl. I love jazz. And so, yes, there are other things where people could say, "Oh, you need to sing a ballad and you need to do musical theater." And they're like, "Okay, these are the things that win." And sometimes I really just think that like the judges and the audience can tell when something's not authentic to
Mhm.
you. Yeah, you can sing that ballad, you can sing that piece, and you might win. But I've never won talent and not been just heavily enthused.
Mhm.
Not if you're not comfortable, if you're not enthusiastic, I think it really just like it reads. So when I do jazz, I'm like, oh, this is my time. I'm not worried about it because it's what I do. It's really my craft. So like when I get on stage, I feel ready and I feel calm and I feel like everybody should find that piece that makes them feel ready and calm and prepared. And it just shows who you are, it reflects who you are as a person and what you do in your spare time.
I love it. I love it. And obviously, that's just one portion of competition. There are many more. So, chat with us about what your favorite phase of competition is, and then a little bit about why that phase is your favorite.
So I gotta say my favorite phase of competition is swimsuit. Fitness and wellness. And people will get on you all the time about, oh my gosh, pageantry and swimsuit. I'm like, do you understand? I've never been more confident in my life than in a swimsuit. Sorry, like, sorry, hate to say it, hate for the haters to hear it. But but I love swimsuit. I love like being in shape and showing off how in shape I am and getting on there and being like, I'm confident and I'm ready to go. And so like growing up, I haven't always been like thin. Like that's not my truth. That's not my story. Uh, so like being like, look at how far I've come. It's wonderful. And it's something that I take a lot of pride in. And to be able to show that on stage and say, I'm in the gym, I'm eating healthy, like that's really important to me. And so every area of competition is wonderful. I love this organization because I feel like it really highlights everything that I have personally, and I think that's important for every contestant to really identify. But yeah, fitness and wellness, amazing.
I love it. I love it. And obviously you're prepping for all the different phases of competition in, leading up to nationals and Miss Volunteer America. But another major part of your year and being a state title holder is, your serve initiative and all of the volunteer work that you're doing. So talk to us about what your serve initiative is and what you've been doing with it so far.
So my serve initiative is old, like old, old. But it's called Healthy Living with Liv. But it used to be called the Daily Victories. Actually, it used to be first name Victories for Victoria. And so it was all about, mental health, making sure that people were taking care of themselves. My sister had struggled with suicidal ideation. She was hospitalized. And so that was like really sat with me and it really impacted my own mental health and the dynamics of my family. And it was wild. It was a wild, wild time. Luckily, I started my platform. My serve initiative became stronger each year. The eventually Senator Barbara Ann Washington, she's a senator in Missouri, invited me to speak for the National Alliance of Mental Illness and like really highlight their teen program, and that was great. But it needed to expand. So here's my summer 24. Woo! My dad had a blood clot, and my grandpa had a stroke.
Mm.
And then my mom had a heart attack the day my grandpa got home from the hospital.
What the heck? Oh my gosh.
I know it was really a wild time. So my goal is to really empower young women and their families to take hold of their mental and physical health. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about and for good reason. So that has just been my aim and why I'm so grateful to have this title because it gives my voice, it just amplifies my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I don't know if I could do without it. Like, yeah, I could do it. You could do it. You could work hard. And, I didn't necessarily have the title that I have now. And I was still talking to senators and still, making way. But it just is so much easier when you have the organization behind you. And my directors are just amazing. Like they're wonderful and they keep me on it. They keep me going. We like have this group chat. It's hilarious. We just giggle and gaggle. And like that's what you need. Sometimes you don't always need like, oh, like what are you doing for nationals? And like sometimes my directors were just like, are you healthy? Are you doing well? How was school? How was your day? And like being a title holder is sometimes difficult because you have to like be the title holder and be a person. So like having that wonderful board is just something that I'm so grateful for. Every opportunity I've had with this organization has been just amazing. It's something that I've never experienced. And so like I definitely came from America. So like shout out to shout out to y'all, but I do love the volunteer organization and it makes me like have a deeper purpose. And I think that's what pageantry is really all about.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned that you transitioned. So talk a little bit about why Miss Volunteer America.
Okay, so I was a baby outstanding teen. And then I said, let me do Miss. Miss, it's my Miss. So I was 16 after state. And then I was only 17 for about 2 weeks before I got my first Miss title
Mhm.
for yeah, it was actually crazy. It was a wild time. I remember that vividly because I saw like one of the most famous outstanding teens competing against me, and she was definitely like 6 years older than me. So I went back and I cried on the phone, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. She's gonna outperform me, and I've been working so hard. And then it was like crazy because like you talk with your directors after, And one of them was sitting in on my interview. I don't remember that at all. Apparently, she was in there the whole time. But she goes, "Oh, when you interviewed, I knew it was you. It was, I knew it was in the story." And that happened, the same thing happened with my volunteer interview. My mom talked to one of the judges, and they were like, after her interview, like, we knew. But volunteer has always been like, once volunteer happened, I knew that I was always going to go to volunteer. Like there was no question about it. Because I'm a deep down America girl, like OG America girl. And so like Debbie Turner Bell, Miss America 1990, that's family friend. Well, I always knew I was going to be Debbie. My friend Jennifer Davis, she was first runner up at Miss America. That's OG Miss America. I always knew I was going to be like her. And so I probably will go back to America soon. I appreciate a rebrand, but that's not what I saw for myself. You know what I mean? I saw those four areas of competition and said, now that's what we do. And I am also very confident on the branding right now. I think knowing what your organization does and needs from you is really important. And so volunteer has never really changed. Like it's the original four categories, and you're like, oh, I understand what you need from me. I'll do what I need to do. When I was competing in America, it was a very rebrand time.
Mm-hmm.
Very, and I said, oh, I don't know what you need. I can't give you what you need because I don't know what you want or need. And also, sometimes your vision does not align with their vision. So my vision, I know for 100% line is alignment with the Miss Volunteer America program. That's what I know about me.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep it consistent. So I feel comfortable with that. America's seemingly slowed down. They're figuring it out. I'm proud of them. The media, they're getting their interviews together. It's making sense. We're ramping back up. And that makes me more comfortable when you have stable leadership. Like I've known the leadership in this organization for so long and they've stayed consistent. When you have consistent leadership, we have consistent area of competition, it makes me comfortable with you. It makes me want to compete. And that's my why, is because we have the same vision, they're consistent, and that's really all I need. Like if you're here to empower young women and you're consistent, you have vision, gotcha.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned that your interview was a selling point for you, as a title holder and in this last competition. So, talk to us about, what specifically you think in your interview clicked with the judges and why you think that they selected you to represent your state.
So when I was a teen, in my teen years, not just saying teen division, but when I was competing as a teen and in my teen years, I didn't lose interview for about 3 years. And I think that what makes your interview good is believing that it's going to be good. That's it. Like you can practice and practice and practice and practice, but if you don't go into that interview acting like you know it's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad. Like it's going to be bad because the judges want to feel connected with you. And so when you're in a bad mood, they're in a bad mood. When you're feeling anxious, they're feeling anxious. It's just a mirror. So every time I go in there, I'm like, oh, I'm about to kill it. Like I know I got it. And I remember one time I was feeling anxious, like, and then somebody looked at me, she just nodded. And I nodded back at her. And that was enough for me to neutralize. And there are things that I do backstage. At a competition, I'm gonna be holding someone's hand. The hand is gonna get held. But that just like calms me down. And then I say, I tell them like before I go on, I say, ask me, am I ready? And then they ask me, I say, yes, I am ready. I breathe in, I breathe out, I let go of their hand, and I start. And that's like the way you have to be. It's all about mindset and knowing that you know what you know. And that was my hardest part when I like transitioned into Miss, is because I was working with all these different coaches and they were trying to mold me and whatever. And it was just weird. And it caused me to question if I know what I know.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a teen, I knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't I don't think anybody who's questioning who they are is going to win.
Mhm.
You have to know what you know about yourself, and you have to know what you know about the world, and you have to know why you know that, and then you have to be able to say how you know that, why you know that. That's it. That's all interview is. They're not asking you, okay, maybe in America, back in the day, America, they would ask you the state bird.
Mhm.
They sure would. I don't know. That is not my truth for volunteer. We never did anything like that. So I will comment about you won't need to know anything arbitrary because I don't know. But like for me, it was truly just about me, what I could do for the organization, how I was going to expand. And I knew like they gave us the question. Like they didn't give us the questions, but they do have like a guideline of what they're gonna ask you. And if you reviewed that, then you would be like, oh, I know about myself. I know about this organization. I'm gonna go in there and kill it. There's nothing to worry about because you had the strategy and you knew who you were.
I love that. I love that. Let's talk next steps because obviously your next pageant is going to be Miss Volunteer America, which is so exciting. I'm sure you're thrilled. So talk to us about what you've been doing to prep for nationals and Miss Volunteer America.
When I talked about illness, really on my platform, I'm gonna let the people know. The day after I was crowned, I had COVID. Like I got tested, I had COVID. During COVID, mm, I temporarily lost my vision and hearing, so that wasn't great. Still can't see the same. And then I was taking Paxlovid to, get myself together, and that really triggered my ulcer. So I was having some internal bleeding issues for a minute. And then once that was over, I went to the doctor again, and they were like, oh my gosh, maybe you have a blood clot in your heart. Now, what do you mean a blood clot in my heart? I'm 22 years old. That doesn't make any sense. We go back to the doctor, and they're like, I don't know why she said that. So now we have three doctors debating about how sick I am and how urgent it is. And I said, you know what? You know what? I gotta get back on my grind. Like I gotta get up back on my grind. I can't keep listening to y'all. Like I believe in health, but I was like, okay, these are the things that are urgent. This person, I got my second opinion. They don't think this is what it is. And luckily, my group chat, they've been holding it down. They've been holding it down. My directors of the group chat, they've been holding it down. Nationals, girl, I've been ready for nationals for years. Don't don't start because I did have all my dresses picked out on a Google Doc. We didn't need to prep for nationals. Nationals was already prepped for. They were like, oh my gosh, Liz, because I was sending everything in the group chat, like, how about this and this and this? They're like, wow, you are on it. I said, oh no, this was already a part of the plan. I already knew what I wanted before I won. I was like, all right, this is what we're doing for nationals. I sent them my talent dress. I sent them my swimsuit. I said, and this is the plan. They said, wow. I said, yeah, yeah. One thing about me, I'm gonna have the vision. And like I'm such a dreamer too. So I had a dream like maybe a year ago that I won my title in the dress that I wore to state. So I know volunteer usually crowns a girl who wears like a white dress, but I don't know. It scares me. Ooh, we hate to see it. But like I had a dream that I won nationals in a red gown. So I'm kind of looking towards a red gown just to like let the dream be. And then I know that you met Macy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
She's
So
precious. Oh my God, she's like the cutest human.
she's a genius and she's precious. But I had never met her before, but she was one of my sister queens. Like she was my successor for one of my sister queens. And so I never met her, but I was like, oh, look at your little ring. Like, oh, I see you. And I was like, she's like, oh, you know Allison, right? Like you and I said, oh yeah. She said, she crowned me. I said, oh, I get it. You're one of us. You're one of us. And I kept like talking to her and I said, she's gonna win. She's gonna win. I said, Macy, come here. Let's take a photo. And I posted it on Instagram because it was her birthday. And I was like, I know in my heart of hearts, she's the winner. Like, I just saw it for us. And I feel like when you have that, like, when you're compelled, like, you just know. Like, I was compelled. I was like, it's her. It's her. And you really couldn't. It was at that point where, like, all those girls deserved to win, like, deserved it, like, all of them. They were so good. My heart knew. It's Macy Jo Klein. It's her time. It's her time. And I feel like that's how I felt. When they called us out, we were literally on stage, standing next to, they called out team. She was the first one called. I was the first one called for Miss. We just looked at each other, and I was like, it's time, ladies. It's time. And I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, like, because you still have to do on stage questions. So they're like, she nails on stage question. I'm like, yes. Because she was giving miss answers. I think the teams are really trying to embarrass us. If you ask me, if you ask me, but I've been winning on stage questions since I was a teen. So I went out. She asked me that question, knew the answer. I was like, if I'm in their number one position, it's not getting moved. I'm staying up there. And so we both did our on stage questions. I said, let's go, let's go, let's go. And it happened, and I was like, I knew it was our time. And like, I feel like everything that I felt wholeheartedly on this journey has worked out. And like, not to say life has not been a mess, because it truly has been, but it does all come together like seamlessly. And like all your dreams that you are thinking about, like they come true. Maybe not in the order that you think is gonna happen, and because that happens to me all the time. Is like I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen next, and I'll like plan out my package for like 10 years because people don't know about those age limits. I'm like, we need to. I'm like, and then I'll do this year, and I'll figure out this year, and I'm like, okay, well, that didn't go according to plan. Maybe let's try this next or this next. And like, I was actually gonna quit pageants. Like, there was just a point where I was just confused, and like the environment was not that great for me, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And like, that's the thing, like this has been what I've been doing for so long. Like you like get that's like your identity. You get so attached to it. And they're like, what do I like to do? And look at all these things. And then like I had to let go of my past experiences and remember why I truly loved pageants and the environment. Because it was truly like one experience that really like messed me up. I was like, I don't know if I even like to do this. Like, what's going on? So when I did Kansas, I just was, hey girl. Like I wasn't focused on the competition. Like I think I started really like hitting it hard on training maybe maybe a week before because I had already had like my stuff and I was just there really like have fun. And it made the experience so much better. Like winning is cool. Like I love that I get to represent my community, but at the same time, I think anyone in the top five could have just knocked it out of. Like I know people will say that like superficially, be like, it could have been anyone. No, no, I'm being for real. Like any one of us could have gotten this title and done amazing with it. And that's why I'm like really passionate about executing this year, because I know those girls would have worked their behinds off to make a better Kansas. Like they're so capable, thousands of hours of service, like vision. They know what they want. They're getting out there. They're go-getters. They're well spoken. You can't really you can't say anything negative about them. They're precious. They're precious angels. And so I'm excited to see every single one of them is going to compete next year. I'm like, yes, yes. I love that our our program is growing and like the longevity. I want it to be like huge, huge, huge. Like my vision for Kansas and nationally, but like Kansas is currently my jurisdiction.
Mhm.
Um, it's just to grow the program as big as I can because it was like the most fun I've ever had. Like genuinely, like I was not stressed. The homework was stressful. It was on a random weekend, so the homework was stressful, quite. But the weekend wasn't stressful. Like I did my little dance, I sang my little song, and it was just like, oh, we're at camp. Like, and the teens and the misses, we just really got along. Everyone was a delight. Like, I can't recommend just like chilling and having fun more. Because like you can practice. I feel like practice, 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 stop practicing. Because it was just so nice to be around those girls. And there was no animosity, there was nothing like shady. We had gotten to know each other like a lot throughout the year. And so like USA, love USA, but like you're there a day and then you leave.
Mhm.
But we had like orientation, we had workshops, so we had been getting to know each other. Like we went on road trips together. It had just been like so fun, like crazy fun the entire time. And I'm like, that is what it's about. Like, don't quit because of a few specific people that make you want to quit, because at the end of the day, it's about community
Mhm.
and finding other people are also trying to find the same community. So
Mhm.
don't take yourself out of it. Like if you have a few bad apples, that's not okay. I don't want to say that because the saying is a few bad apples are worth a bunch. But yeah, I'm gonna redact that statement and we're just gonna keep rolling.
I love it. I love it. And for our final question, if you could just give one piece of advice to someone competing at next year's Miss Kansas Volunteer, what would it be?
Ooh. I would say know what you need in between times.
Mhm.
Because you're gonna get out of rehearsal, you're gonna need to know if you have food, are getting food, are provided food. Do you need a snack? How late do you have to be up? Do you need to do your homework? Do you need your backpack? Where is the rehearsal located? So I guess it's about preparedness, like being prepared. That's what the Girl Scouts always say. Be prepared because um it'll jack you up. Like that'll mess up your weekend.
Mhm.
You were in those dance rehearsals for a long time, honey. Like if you are not prepared with the water, with the snacks, you're gonna get a migraine. You're gonna get a migraine because you're doing stuff the night before till I wouldn't say too late. I still have to do my homework. If you don't have homework, but like I was doing my homework, I had to take my makeup off. Then we were going to rehearsals. We had like the princess events, and like it was packed. It was packed, but it was fun, and that was like my main thing because I heard it was packed. I said maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this isn't for me. I have a lot to do. But it was amazing. And I think like just like being really, really, really prepared and asking for help. Like if you think like, oh, I can do this without my mom, or I can do this without my parents. I'm like, maybe not. Maybe, maybe just make an inquiry. Because I think you're gonna need a little bit of support. Not that you can't do it alone, I wouldn't do it alone. I like having my support there and just knowing like this is what I need to get through. Because I'm a hangry gal. If I don't have food, it's not gonna be a good time. It's not gonna be a good time. It's not gonna be a great Olivia experience. So I like make sure I have all my snacks, all my water. Please take your medication. Like if you know that you like time it out. Don't be ashamed. It's really awkward when people start getting sick because they don't take their medicine. So please do that. Please, if you're gonna faint, say that you're gonna faint. Make your ailments make people aware of your ailments because I think people allow that to escalate too far. They want to be very just like sweet and in the background. And then they pass out. And I don't think that that's the best way. Make things known. Maybe if the spotlight is on you and you don't enjoy the spotlight, this is not the time. You really you really have to get it together and stand up for yourself because pageant weekend is one of those weekends that you're gonna have to probably advocate for yourself a little bit if you're going through exhaustion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Olivia, for coming on and chatting with us about you and your title and all the things you've been doing so far. And just know that we'll be rooting you on at nationals.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. And I will see the rest of you guys on our next episode. Bye, y'all.